Out on the trail, a family pet comes across an illegal trap. It's a terrible outcome for the dog. What you should watch out for with your animal. And a horse disappears on a hunting trip. It's a remarkable recovery, and what the owners are doing since it's pretty skinny right now.
It's a little thick. Yeah. That's not the way to lose weight if you're a horse, I would guess.
No, coming up to 6:30 this morning. Nice to see you on a Monday. I'm Donna Kelly along with Chet Lehman.
I've been having a blast with you this morning,
Same.
Donna Kelly. Why don't you stick around all week?
I am.
See, there you go. See, that's how that works. Chet asks and it happens.
Right. And also the news director says so.
Well, that also doesn't hurt either. How about we take a look at some weather while I still have a job? I'll do it at least for the next, 30 minutes or so. We'll see what happens at the meeting after the show. Right now, the temperature's in the teens for the most part. 12 in Ennis, 1 in West Yellowstone, 3 in Butte. 11 out at the airport in Belgrade right now, which is about average for this time of year. We'll warm up to about average this time of year with more sunshine than clouds. You got to love that for a December day, don't you? For the mining city, lots of sunshine. You're going to want to put the visor down if you're driving around at 3 o'clock because it's going to be lovely out there. What's it look like for the rest of the week? That detailed forecast, Donna, in about 10 minutes.
We'll see you then. Thank you, Chet. A man died in a single vehicle rollover crash north of Dillon on Saturday morning. The Montana Highway Patrol tells MTN News a 24-year-old Dillon man was driving southbound on Montana 41 when his Dodge Ram pickup drifted over the center line. He overcorrected and slid sideways into a ditch. The man was not wearing a seatbelt and was ejected as the vehicle rolled several times. MHP said the truck's tires were sheared off before it landed upright. Alcohol and speed are suspected factors in that crash. A Missoula family is in mourning after their dog died while on an everyday walk along one of their favorite trails. MTN's Jordan Johnson sat down with the family to talk about their loss.
Rachel Luger and Brian Dalps experienced the unthinkable last Sunday. Their 17-month-old dog, Betsy, got trapped in an illegal trap when they were out for their evening walk. The trap was near the family's routine walking area for Betsy off of Hyberta Road.
We go down to this area all the time, several times a week, and we were just doing our walk, and she kind of was behind me a little bit and like around a bend in the trail, and I just heard a commotion and then heard it sounded like an animal fighting.
Dalps went to investigate and he saw the trap was caught on Betsy's neck. Dalps succeeded in getting the trap off of Betsy, but the damage to Betsy's airway was severe. Dalps and Luger brought Betsy to the vet, giving CPR to Betsy the whole drive there.
Dog owners should be aware of how to address this if this happens to their dog, because it can happen very quickly and take a life.
The whole experience was traumatic for Luger and Dalps, and they want people to become educated about illegal traps, especially during trapping season, to prevent this from happening to another family.
I always knew that I should educate myself about traps living in Montana, and just never really felt that urgency to take a class, and I saw opportunities and never acted on that. And so I just would urge people to seek out education on traps. So don't wait. It's trapping season right now, and people need to know what to do.
You can find more information about trapping at FWP's website. The Western Humane Society has a class in January about being aware of traps. In Missoula, Jordan Johnson, MTN News.
The two men responsible for that trap were cited with state charges, 1 count of failure to appropriately mark the trap and 1 count of an illegal ground set. Missoula Animal Control also cited the men for illegally trapping within the city limits. Montana recently received a $10 million 5-year federal grant to improve health outcomes for pregnant and postpartum women in rural Montana. The new program is called the Montana Obstetric and Maternal Support, or MOMS program. Program will utilize Billings Clinic's Project Echo to connect OBGYN experts to rural providers, simulation education via mobile sim lab trucks, and telemedicine. According to the CDC, Montana has the 6th highest maternal mortality rate in the country, with rural and Native American communities at the highest risks.
The beauty of it is there's an infrastructure in place in many communities. So we're utilizing existing systems when we can. And our goal is that people have a successful pregnancy and successful outcome, whether you're in Billings or whether you're in Bighorn County.
Currently, more than half of Montana's counties do not have an OB or nurse practitioner providing maternal health care. The MOMS program is expected to launch in early 2020. While beautiful, the Montana wilderness is vast and often unforgiving. It's why backcountry hunters often use horses and mules to pack in and out. MTN's Justine Stewart brings us the tale of a lucky horse who had to find his own way out.
A bit ribby and a few battle scars, but mostly unscathed. Marshall seems quite happy to be munching away on his hay. Not too long ago, he found himself on his own, lost in the Pioneer Mountains. Of course, that wasn't the plan. In mid-September, Marshall started off with his owner, Tom Mua, and a friend, trekking deep into the wilderness for a hunting trip. Once they got to their camping spot, they tied Marshall and another horse tightly to a tree, then headed out to hunt. The trouble started when they got back.
Something was off. We got there and, we had one black horse and a set of bridles and halter hanging from the tree with no horse. And we just immediately freaked. We're like, did someone steal him, or did, a bear or something come by and spook him? But after, looking at the ground, everything looked fine. They weren't digging, nothing. They just, their tracks were, they're just standing still.
And so the search for Marshall began. After hours of looking, Mua says he came across Marshall in a meadow. But turns out Marshall wasn't quite ready to be caught.
He was just not having us. Something spooked him when I was trying to catch him, and he just took off and just kind of disappeared.
Mua and his friends spent 3 days searching for Marshall before they had to leave. He even came back several times, but still nothing. So they put up flyers and spread the word, hoping against all odds that they would find him.
I thought for sure that, maybe a bear or a wolf might have gotten him, or he might have fell off a cliff.
Remarkably, Marshall was still alive, and nearly 2 months later found his way back to camp where another hunter was staying.
He said that he went up there to go hunt with his buddies, and they got up there and they're like, oh, there's other people in here. Come to find out, there was no one. There was just Marshall walking the meadows, just feeding and cutting all this trash in the meadows.
This time, Marshall was ready to go home, and his family beyond happy to welcome him.
Pretty skinny right now, but we're fattening him up. He's a free-for-all. We just let him eat whatever he wants.
So while it's a complete mystery as to how Marshall got loose in the first place from camp, one thing's for sure, he is a survivor, and his family is just thankful to have him home. In Missoula, Justine Stewart, MTN News.
And Marshall's owners add that they hope that he takes time to think about the ordeal during his long winter vacation and hopes that it will not happen again next year. This week, Under the Big Sky, Superman brings his music to schools across the country, but also shares a message of hope and understanding. He connects with students through music, dance, and culture to help bridge divides and inspire progress.
The relationship between non-natives and the native people, it's not a good one. It's not a good history. It's war, What was done to the native people had a devastating effect. Being told that you're evil, that you're less human. Even a Declaration of Independence says all men are created equal, except for these merciless Indian savages, It's kind of like a bomb, and it has like shock waves that run out. Each generation is feeling that shock wave still. It's one life to live, so live. For me to go into a school, and present, I always think that's amazing. I'm in this non-native school presenting culture, and I'm telling these kids, hey, America was founded on genocide, and they're listening to me. Wow, it's amazing, So many years ago, you'll never see that, They would never allow that. People are more understanding now. They're more open, than their grandparents were or their great-grandparents were. Like, wow, I wasn't taught that. Man, we need to change this. What can I do? I always say we can't just go to Washington and just change the system, but we can change this system, in our own hearts. You can never deny somebody's kindness, somebody's love. No matter what culture they come from, no matter what their view is, when you give, you get whatever you put out to the universe, you're gonna get back. If you're giving love, you're helping people, you're gonna get that back. What I try to do with my music is step in that direction. There's still a lot of healing, there's still a lot of reconciliation that needs to take place. Hopefully it does. I feel we're going in a good direction, but there's so much that has to be done still.
You can see the full Under the Big Sky stories at underthebigsky.com.
He really is a Superman.
Yes, and those
fascinating human being.
And the Native American costumes, and if you've ever been to a powwow, so enjoyable.
Absolutely
You should never
beautiful.
miss one of those.
Absolutely true. I don't miss very many.
Are you doing the weather here, or am I supposed to?
No, you can do a break if you want.
I will, thank you. All right, an erupting volcano kills at least 5 in New Zealand. Coming up, an update on rescue efforts for those who are visiting the island.